This is a continuation of the 10 best 2-framing moves video I released in January, so make sure you watch that one first, as I will be referencing it quite a bit in this video. To recap, I identified these 10 moves, but I also made it clear that there's plenty of other good 2-framing moves, enough for another top 10. Many of you commented your suggestions on moves I missed, so I've decided to make a part 2 talking about 10 more great 2-framing moves. Before getting into the list, let's refer back to the criteria I will be judging these moves by. First is ease of use. This refers to how easy the move is to not only throw out, but actually land and hit your opponent. Specifically, this means startup time, amount of active frames, hitbox size, and whether it needs to be performed with intricate spacing. Second is kill power or combo ability. This means what does the move do when it connects? Does it send out to kill your opponent / set up for an edge guard, or does it send up to combo into a move to kill your opponent? Third is overall effectiveness. This judges how well the move balances between the previous two criteria. I will be including moves that technically don't always 2-frame an opponent, but rather hit them before they even get a chance to grab the ledge at all. I'm counting these moves because they are used in the same situations and have the same results. As long as the move doesn't require you to be off stage, as that would be too different to be considered for this list. Lastly, this list will not be ordered since all of these 2-framing moves are pretty great. Starting off, we have Incineroar's Down Tilt. On stage, this move is a very consistent vertical comboing move, probably one of the best, if not the best down tilt if we're purely talking vertical combos. When used at the ledge, it still maintains its use as a combo move with a fairly generous 2-framing hitbox, and relative safety thanks to Incineroar's intangibility on both of its legs. While this move's immediate impact when connecting against a recovering opponent is underwhelming, being able to consistently set up into a kill aerial is very reliable, and something that you would want to avoid if you're the one recovering. Specific spacing isn't really an issue, and it's also pretty spammable with its 29 total frames, just less than half a second. Next, for number 2, we have Min Min's down-angled Ram variant of her side special. Many of you commented this in the previous video, especially since I included her down tilt but not this move, as it is a very strong and risk-free 2-frame. Due to Min Min's arms, she is able to stand about a roll distance away from the ledge, putting herself out of position of safety while still maintaining a threatening position to her recovering opponent. Min Min's arms are completely disjointed for some reason, so you won't have to worry about your opponent hitting you, even during a ledge get up attack where they are completely intangible. If you're right at the ledge, you can even hit your opponent if they are farther out, which I am counting for this list as long as that's not the only thing the move does, which is definitely not the only thing the move does. Overall, this is a very scary move to have to deal with when you're trying to recover back to the stage. For number 3, we have the move that is probably stretching the definition of a 2-frame the most on this list, Steve's Down Tilt. Like the previous entry, Steve's Down Tilt hits far enough below the ledge that it hits opponents before they even get a chance to grab the ledge. While it's not super spammable at 52 total frames, it is ridiculously safe at +5 on shield, making it a very reliable, low-risk move to disrupt your opponent's recovery. Just make sure you space it right so that the fire goes just off the ledge where your opponent is trying to recover. This makes it both easy to use and relatively unpunishable if you miss. Next up, we have Lucas's down-angled forward tilt. This is one of the safest forward tilts in the game, and it is also very easy to throw out as a 2-frame with its mere 25 total frames. The hitbox is really big and disjointed for how small the animation makes it look, and it packs a decent punch, killing most characters at around 110%. Because of its safety on shield, disjointed hitbox, and relatively fast startup for a forward tilt at frame 7, this is a very solid 2-framing move. You just might not see this being used all that often because Lucas also has Down Smash, an arguably better 2-framing move that appeared in part 1. Either way, trying to recover against Lucas can be very scary if you have an exploitable recovery. Number 5 goes to Rob's Down Air. While this move isn't particularly fast to start up at frame 20, the spiking hit lasts for the entirety of the active hitbox, which is 7 frames long. The vertical hitbox is long enough that it is able to hit all characters' ledge grabs when done out of a rising short hop. This move floats Rob too, so you can go out a little past the ledge if your opponent is mixing up their recovery and still be totally fine. While it is not very safe on shield and it has quite a bit of end lag, the large, long-lasting disjointed hitbox combined with this move's floating property makes it quite a good 2-frame. For number 6, we have a little bit of an unusual entry, but hear me out. Meta Knight's down-angled side special. I personally didn't even know this move could 2-frame until very recently, but wow is it good when it works. When spaced properly and angled down, Meta Knight's side special hits well below the ledge and sends out, making it great for taking stocks. Regardless of if this move connects, this will pop Meta Knight up for a second, which generally will put you at a disadvantageous position when done on stage, but when done as a 2-frame, it is actually quite beneficial. If the stage has a platform like Small Battlefield, you can land on the platform immediately. If you miss the 2-frame and your opponent decides to do a ledge get up attack, you'll be out of the way enough to not get hit. Even if you miss-space this move and go too far off the ledge, if you hit your opponent, you can still make it back to the stage. All this makes Meta Knight's side special quite a unique 2-frame that you probably didn't know about. Number 7 is a move I mentioned in the previous video alongside Ivysaur's down air, which is Pyra's down air. Pretty much all of Pyra's aerials are incredibly strong due to her being the powerhouse character in the duo of herself and Mythra, and her down air is not an exception to that fact. With a spiking hitbox that looks like this, Pyra's down air is one of the best spiking moves in the game. The only drawback of this move as a 2-frame is that it doesn't tend to hit most characters' ledge grabs if you do it out of a rising short hop, unlike Rob or Ivysaur. This means you'll have to be falling for this move's hitbox to be able to catch opponents' recoveries, which isn't the end of the world or anything, but it is a drawback. Number 8 is another move I mentioned in the previous video, but this time alongside Min Min's down tilt, which is Sephiroth's down tilt. I was going back and forth between these two down tilts when making the last video, and I honestly think you can go with either of them. Sephiroth's down tilt is slightly faster to start up and has a slightly longer active hitbox, but just lacks the leg intangibility that Min Min's sweet spot hit has. Spacing is also a complete non-issue with either of these moves, as they will automatically stop you at the ledge so you won't fall off. The only drawbacks of these moves are both an underwhelming result when you connect, and not being able to hit some characters' ledge grabs, but they are still decent for combos. Number 9 is a move that I honestly don't think is that good for 2-framing, but I saw it a lot in the comments and I've seen some other Smash Bros content creators talk about it, so I've decided to include it. Corrin's side special. The reason I don't find this move to be that good for 2-framing is because of the specific timing and spacing required for it to work. This move has to hit the ground against most characters in order for the pin to be close enough to hit a character's 2-frame. The spacing isn't the hardest part though, it's the timing. Ultimate Frame Data's information section for this move isn't too clear though, since it's quite a unique case, so I could be wrong on this, but the pin hitbox appears to only have one active frame. If you look at any of the other moves in this list, you'll notice that I value multiple active hitboxes very much. The risk to reward of this move is pretty great though, since if you miss, you could just retract, go forward, go backward, or jump up, and if you hit, your opponent's pretty much dead. Finally, for number 10, we have Mario's dash attack, what I actually consider to be the best 2-framing dash attack. In the last video, I said that Sora has the best 2-framing dash attack, but I changed my mind. The main reason being that Sora's dash attack hitbox isn't quite big enough to be able to hit every character's ledge grab, while Mario's is. While it does have a bigger hitbox closer to his body, that doesn't matter for 2-framing as those hits are higher up and farther away from the ledge. Since I'm only considering these moves 2-framing properties, Mario's is better. Its hitbox starts up earlier, lasts longer, is safer on shield, and has less end lag. Looking back at the original list, I don't really know why I went with Sora's dash attack over Mario's. And those are 10 more of the best 2-framing moves in Smash Ultimate. Do you disagree with any of the moves I included, or feel that I missed any? Let me know in the comments. Before you do, make sure it's not one of these that I included in part 1. I don't know if there's really enough room for a part 3, but still leave your suggestions if you have them. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.